He's not very intelligent and undoubtedly remains damaged by the early death of his mother, Diana. And he very foolishly blames the media for her, in his words, which is complete nonsense. But I think he loved the adulation. He loved it when he was being praised, especially when he was a soldier. But then he became criticised, firstly because he became drunk in public.
The whole description she does of the Portland hospital, the birth, that was completely fabricated. We all know.
Harry and Meghan Markle's surrogacy scandal has entered the mainstream media domain. Tom, do you think Harry and Meghan are fast learning what they signed away when they took this Netflix big moolah? And I would say they signed away their credibility and their dignity.
Well, that's our view, but it's not theirs. They need the money, and they need it now more than ever because they've got no other source of income. So I think they're just stuck with the devil now. They're tied to Netflix, they're tied to their book, and all the criticism they're going to take means nothing because that's the only way they can earn their money.
But if she hasn't had the children herself, or Harry hadn't been involved, then they can't be in the royal line. They have to have royal blood, those little ones. Without that, there's no chance of them becoming a member of the royal family.
No, I choose people who don't want to be written about on the whole, whose lives are shrouded in mystery, and they want to hide their secrets, and I just love digging away to find out what they didn't want us to know.
People think her kids are fake. They think they're AI.
Absolutely. What we're really now seeing is that both of them, having posed as the victim for so long, are really the aggressors.
Had you hoped your children, Archie and Lilibet, would have had that you think they won't be able to now with this decision?
Well, for a start, the only time that I've come back to the UK is sadly for funerals or court cases.
In this case, about whether you think the birth was real, whether you think there was a surrogate, whether you think Meghan was wearing a moon bar, the fact is Harry and Meghan lied. Buckingham Palace lied on their behalf. There was a complete cover-up over the birth of Prince Archie.
Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, is marking her daughter Lilibet's 4th birthday by sharing some personal photographs. A rare sighting of a little girl seen in this picture with her father, Prince Harry, and now her mom. The child's face is partially covered as the royal couple is known to fiercely guard the privacy of their 2 children. On Instagram, Meghan wrote, "Happy birthday to our beautiful girl. 4 years ago today, she came into our lives, and the day is brighter and better because of it."
It was a dreadful thing to do, and actually completely wrong. He is quite hard and harsh.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle believed they could keep their children out of the spotlight. But now their biggest secret may be the very thing tearing everything apart. With explosive claims from Tom Bower about Archie and Lilibet, questions surrounding bloodlines and legitimacy are spiraling rapidly, and the fallout is becoming harder to control. From palace silence to growing public calls for DNA tests, the tension is escalating fast and the drama is reaching a boiling point. Stay until the end. This is one royal scandal you definitely don't want to miss.
That has always been her motive. She's money obsessed and always has been. And that is why she married Prince Harry. A great surprise and disappointment was to discover that Prince Harry had very little money. She imagined he'd be worth hundreds of millions, if not billions. And she's having to make up for it now.
I can't see a world in which I would be bringing my wife and children back to the UK at this point. And the things that they're going to miss is, well, everything. You know, I love my country. I always have done. Despite what some people in that country have done. So, you know, I miss the UK. I miss parts of the UK. Of course I do.
The conversation, I'm told and I believe, was very early on in their relationship when Harry is bowled over by Meghan, is desperately in love, and already is talking about marriage, but long before their engagement is even announced, let alone they're married and she's pregnant. And he's sitting in Clarence's house with then Prince Charles and Camilla. And Camilla just laughingly says, "Well, any child you'll have will probably have brown skin and ginger hair."
The Queen and the Duke.
Yes, and we just bumped into the Duke as we were walking by, which was so nice. So it'll be a nice moment to introduce the baby to more family, and my mom's with us as well. So it's been a really, here we go.
Another great grand.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are back in the spotlight, And this time it isn't about palace conflicts or Netflix deals. It's about their children. Tom Bower has released what many are calling his most explosive claim yet, raising intense questions about whether Archie and Lilibet are even biologically theirs. Supporters of these claims argue that they're not just rumors, but are based on years of patterns, research, and lingering inconsistencies that have raised suspicions for a long time. Now, the couple who vowed to protect their children at all costs are watching those same children become the center of the biggest crisis they've ever faced.
And that's why I think, I think Tina is a great journalist, and perhaps she has inside information. I don't see how the Sussexes can give up both the Netflix and the book deal. They won't be living in a Montecito cottage. They're more likely living somewhere in downtown LA, in a little hovel. That's their problem. They're stuck now. But, the truth is about them. Then he wore a Nazi uniform at a party. Then he was wearing absolutely nothing in the nude at the party in Las Vegas. And he couldn't cope with the criticism because, in his view, he is a target. And it didn't help that his telephones were hacked by News International Rupert Murdoch's group here in London.
Think about it. This is no longer about royal rules or family disagreements. The question people are asking now is simple and brutally direct. Who are Archie and Lilibet really? For any ordinary family, even raising such a question would feel shocking, but for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, where every move seems curated, branded, and performed, the suspicion strikes much deeper. Tom Bower suggests that surrogacy may not have simply been a private medical choice, but a concealed secret possibly hiding a much larger truth. And when royalty is involved, bloodline and legitimacy aren't just personal matters. They are everything. If any of this turns out to be true, it wouldn't just be another scandal. It would be a direct blow to the monarchy itself.
We know that she never intended to go to the Portland hospital. She intended to have the baby at home. We know that they deceived the public about the birth date and time of the whole event. So, and also, even it goes down to the lawyer. The lawyer saying that in that statement, when they had that long attack on the Mail, which is astonishing, that Meghan, we know she lied in her statement.
And that brings us to Prince Harry. The fun, cheeky prince people once loved has now become tabloid fuel, increasingly turned into memes and mocked as either clueless or complicit. Reports from Montecito paint a chaotic picture. Prince Harry pacing through rooms, snapping at staff, glued to headlines, and spiraling under non-stop whispers. The irony is hard to ignore. The same man who once spoke passionately about mental health now appears overwhelmed and unraveling in public, and honestly, it's painful to watch. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle is reportedly handling the situation in her own way, taking a colder and more calculated approach. No visible emotion, no breakdowns, just lawyers on standby, cease and desist letters, legal threats, and strategic silence.
It's living a life that she's winning and she's doing all these great things, but the reality is not that. The reality is she's...
But here's the twist. The harder she tries to shut it down, the louder it gets, like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. People are digging deeper, asking tougher questions, and noticing red flags that suddenly seem clearer when placed side by side. There were the oddly staged pregnancy photos, the blurry timelines that never quite matched, the absence of hospital images or traditional birth announcements. Their family narrative always seemed just a little too polished. And when things start to feel staged, people inevitably begin to wonder what might be hidden. Critics argue that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry had years to clear up these doubts, yet instead chose secrecy, and now that secrecy is exploding in the worst possible way. We're watching one of the most carefully crafted royal escape stories begin to crack under suspicion, and whether you believe Tom Bower or not, one thing feels undeniable. The silence from Prince Harry and Meghan Markle isn't calming anything. If anything, it's louder than any statement they could make.
I choose people who don't want to be written about on the whole, whose lives are shrouded in mystery, and they want to hide their secrets, and I just love digging away to find out what they don't want us to know. I wrote 4 years ago a book about Prince Charles, and it was a story about how he had rehabilitated himself after Diana's death, and how Camilla also had to be rehabilitated. And it was a number one. It was a fascinating story. So when Meghan came along into the scene, I just thought, this is fascinating. How is this going to play out? To tell the truth, I spoke to very few friends of Meghan because she put a fatwa on anyone talking to me who she could. So I sent off dozens and dozens of emails to her friends, and most of them didn't even reply. And obviously I spoke to her father, who loves her still very much, and said, in the end, whatever she is, she's still my daughter. You can't beat the real story. I mean, that's the excitement of writing these sort of books, that in the end, nothing beats the truth, the real fact.
And then there's one of the biggest red flags, the striking distance between Archie and Lilibet and the rest of the royal family. Think about it. Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales's children, are frequently seen with King Charles III, Queen Camilla, and even the late Queen Elizabeth II, with countless family moments publicly documented. But when it comes to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's children, there is almost nothing. No warm photos with senior royals, no visible bonding moments you'd expect from being part of the firm. Now people are asking whether this is coincidence, or whether the palace created that distance intentionally, and either way, the silence speaks volumes. This isn't harmless gossip, it carries serious implications. If surrogacy was involved, that's one thing. It's a private choice many families make. But if donors were involved and the biological ties aren't what Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have claimed, then this becomes a potential royal earthquake, one that could impact the line of succession itself, something the monarchy cannot afford to leave unresolved.
Something like that. So she wasn't even pregnant. So it's very weird. And Harry, it was said to Harry, not to her. I mean, she just came.
The crown survives on stability and bloodline, and if that foundation cracks, it isn't just Prince Harry and Meghan Markle who could fall. It has the potential to shake the entire institution. And we can't ignore who is fueling this storm. Tom Bower isn't a click-chasing gossip writer. He has a long-standing reputation for exposing uncomfortable truths about the royal family, which is exactly why this situation feels so significant. The unsettling part is that many of his past claims have later proven true, so when he releases something this explosive, people pay attention. He has effectively lit a match beneath what could be one of the most volatile royal secrets yet. And if this gains traction, it wouldn't just damage Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's public image. It could threaten their place in royal history entirely.
Well, that's our view, but it's not theirs. They need the money, and they need it now more than ever because they've got no other source of income. So I think they're just stuck with the devil now. They're tied to Netflix, they're tied to their book, and all the criticism they're going to take means nothing because that's the only way they can earn their money.
But what makes the situation even worse is the silence. Throughout all of this chaos, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle haven't said a single word, no statements, no denials, not even an attempt to clear things up with something as straightforward as a DNA test. Just complete silence. And silence doesn't calm the storm, it fuels it, making people ask, if there's nothing to hide, why not prove it? With every day that passes without a response, the suspicion only grows louder. The calls for DNA testing are becoming impossible to ignore, placing the couple under even harsher scrutiny. What began as quiet forum speculation has now exploded into trending hashtags, primetime debates, and panel discussions dissecting every photo, every timeline, and every detail.
Now, well, look, Radar Online, in fairness, they do quote you and say Royal Author Lady Colin Campbell recently challenged the conspiracy of silence and misinformation surrounding both topics.
Social media is now flooded with people repeating the same sentiment. Something doesn't seem to add up. If Harry and Meghan are telling the truth, why not take the test and end the speculation once and for all? Every refusal only makes the fire grow bigger, louder, and harder to control. From a public relations perspective, this isn't just bad. It's a full-blown disaster. The Sussex brand was built on a carefully crafted image, the modern family, the bright Montecito lifestyle, and that polished Netflix documentary series filled with speeches about love, healing, and resilience. Every word and every scene was designed to project stability and authenticity, and now that image is being questioned in ways they may never have anticipated.
Meghan is using everything for publicity and not really truly there. We know how she treats her family.
But now that picture is beginning to crack, and these aren't small flaws. These are deep fractures that no staged photo or glossy interview can hide. And for Harry, this cuts deeper than anything before. This isn't just another scandal, it's personal. Fatherhood has always been his redemption story, his reason, his shield, and the justification behind nearly every decision he has made since stepping away from royal life.
Have extraordinary reporting in your book on what this was likely based on and how it doesn't match up to what Meghan said. Here's the clip, Sussex, from the Oprah interview.
From the Oprah interview to the documentary series, Harry has repeated the same message again and again. Being a father saved him, grounded him, and gave his life purpose. But now, critics are striking at the very core of that narrative. They're asking the question he fears most. What if the children he built his entire public identity around aren't biologically his? That question doesn't just damage an image. It threatens to shatter a sense of self.
Well, of course, that was brilliant of you to bring that clip up because the body language just showed her discomfort as she dug deeper into her own hole. I mean, the truth is this, that there are two truths. The first truth is that the conversation, I'm told and I believe, was very early on in their relationship when Harry is bowled over by Meghan, is desperately in love, and already is talking about marriage.
It's a brutal blow not only to Harry's reputation, but to who he believes he is. Remember, this is the man who walked behind Diana's coffin, forever etched in history as a symbol of pain, strength, and survival. And now, he is being portrayed in two harsh and deeply unflattering ways, either as a naive figure being pulled along by Meghan's plans, or as an active participant in what critics describe as a royal-level cover-up. Neither version helps him. One makes him appear weak and powerless, while the other paints him as dishonest, calculating, and complicit, and worst of all, both leave him looking like a man who can't even control the story of his own family.
How would your mom feel about your relationship with your brother now?
I think she would be sad. I think she'd be looking at it long term to know that there are certain things that we need to go through to be able to heal the relationship. I have felt the presence of my mum more so in the last 2 years than I have in the last 30.
Insiders from Montecito claim the atmosphere inside the mansion has grown dark, tense, and unstable. Harry has reportedly become increasingly obsessive, bordering on paranoia, glued to articles, gossip threads, and even YouTube commentary, watching strangers dissect every photo of his children, every pregnancy timeline, and every claim ever released to the public. Friends say he is unraveling, pacing through rooms, snapping at staff, spiraling into speculation, and barely sleeping. You can almost see the anxiety etched across his face. And here lies the irony critics keep highlighting. Harry once positioned himself as a mental health advocate, the self-styled therapy prince. Yet now he appears trapped in his own emotional spiral, unable to follow the guidance he once passionately promoted.
For the time being, it's impossible for me to take my family back to the UK safely.
You're obviously very deeply affected by this. What memories, experiences had you hoped your children, Archie and Lilibet, would have had that you think they won't be able to now with this decision?
Meanwhile, Meghan is handling the situation very differently, cold, calculated, and strategic. She is reportedly lawyering up, drafting cease and desist letters, pressuring media outlets, and trying to force the story into silence. But here's the problem. Every legal threat only makes people more suspicious. The harder she tries to shut it down, the more people begin to ask why. If there's nothing to hide, why respond with panic and aggression? Instead of killing the rumors, her legal moves are pouring fuel on the fire.
This crisis won't die down until the irrefutable truth comes out.
And then there's the palace, and their silence feels almost chilling. There has been no word from King Charles, no warm photos of Archie and Lilibet with their grandfather or any senior royal, not even the usual birthday messages that normally come automatically for royal children. In contrast, William and Kate's children are publicly celebrated and embraced at every turn, and the difference is impossible to ignore. The contrast is so sharp that people are starting to ask whether the royal family already knows something, or quietly suspected the truth all along.
Thank you.
Second time, go. Fitting for the cameras, aren't you? Fitting for the cameras.
A new theory gaining traction suggests that this distance isn't punishment at all, it's protection. The idea is that the monarchy may have deliberately kept Harry and Meghan's children at arm's length to shield the institution from a scandal they feared might eventually erupt. And now, with Tom Bower dragging everything into the spotlight, the palace may simply be waiting for Harry and Meghan to either come clean or break under pressure. If that theory is true, then this is no longer a tabloid narrative. It becomes a royal reckoning. Because if the monarchy itself doubts Archie and Lilibet's legitimacy, this isn't speculation anymore. It's a crisis.
What about the security arrangements that were in place made you feel it would be unsafe for you and your family?
There's only so much that I can say because of the redaction process and the national security matters at hand, but everything. Because in beginning of 2020, I was scored the highest as far as risk was concerned. And then overnight, I was reduced to the lowest without actually going through the risk management board.
This has now moved beyond curiosity. It has become full-blown suspicion, and it's no longer just tabloids driving the conversation. Mainstream outlets, respected journalists, and even longtime royal supporters are beginning to ask the same question out loud. Will Harry and Meghan agree to a DNA test? The fact that such a question is even being discussed feels surreal, but when every pathway to transparency is shut down, people inevitably start asking, what else is left?
What I discovered was, of course, that she was hunting for a man in England from 2013 onwards, when her marriage had crashed and she couldn't find anyone in Canada at the time. And she wanted wealth and she wanted fame. And she targeted, there's no doubt she targeted her.
And that's the most damaging part. Harry and Meghan had countless opportunities to shut this down early. They could have presented records, been transparent, or simply explained the unusual gaps in photos and timelines. Instead, they doubled down on silence, or worse, offered vague, messy answers while hiding behind lawyers and lawsuits. Now, that silence isn't protecting them, it's sinking them. In the court of public opinion, silence no longer reads as dignity, it looks like guilt.
And that's why I think, I think Tina is a great journalist, and perhaps she has inside information. I don't see how the Sussexes can give up both the Netflix and the book deal. They won't be living in a Montecito cottage. They'll be more likely living somewhere in downtown LA.
The saddest part is that the damage may already be permanent. Harry, once praised as the bold, rebellious prince, now appears like a man coming apart at the seams. Even friends from his military days, the ones who once admired his courage, have reportedly begun to step back, leaving him increasingly isolated.
He became hypersensitive and blamed the media for the crashes of his relationship.
Sources close to him describe him as unpredictable, swinging between angry outbursts and unsettling silence. Those around him whisper that he has lost not just his royal identity, but his sense of self as a man. And now, fatherhood, the one role he clung to as his redemption, is under intense scrutiny. That's devastating, because if his role as a father is questioned, What does he truly have left to stand on?
And already is talking about marriage, but long before their engagement is even announced, let alone they're married and she's pregnant. And he's sitting in Clarence's house with then Prince Charles and Camilla. And Camilla just laughingly says, well, any child you'll have will probably have brown skin and ginger hair. And they all laugh, including Harry. I mean, it's not because of racism. It's just one of those things everybody imagines. When somebody is pregnant close to you, you wonder what the child will look like. But it was not said as anything other than
like a concern. That's what Meghan explained, that it was a concern about how dark the baby was.
Meanwhile, Meghan hasn't cracked like Harry. She is following her usual playbook: deflect, control, and remain cold. Reports suggest her lawyers are firing off letters constantly, threatening lawsuits whenever stories aren't retracted. But here's the problem: legal letters can't erase a moral scandal. If anything, they only make critics feel more certain that they've uncovered something real.
With either Archie or Lily, and it needs to happen. They need to prove that those children, Meghan and Harry, are not entitled to privacy in this matter. And their privacy is trumped by our right to know that no bastard is going to sit on the throne of this country. All Harry and Meghan need to do is prove to us that she popped those babies out. And that's all they need to do. And if they don't, it is unfair on the children. It's also unfair on the royal family.
And the public isn't blind. People remember the flawless Netflix documentaries, the staged Instagram posts, and the speeches about honesty, healing, and breaking generational trauma. So when that same couple now refuses transparency on something as fundamental as their children's origins, the hypocrisy is impossible to ignore. It makes people feel like they were sold a brand, not the truth. Meanwhile, the royal family remains silent. Not one senior royal has stepped forward to defend Harry and Meghan. No statements, no quiet support, nothing. It's as if the institution has quietly stepped aside, leaving the Sussexes alone in the storm.
Like, why lie? It was just so truly bizarre.
Insiders claim that King Charles was instructed to keep his distance because even a small show of support could backfire if these rumors turn out to be true. That silence speaks volumes, and not in the way the Sussexes had hoped. Behind the scenes, whispers about contingency plans are growing louder. Private discussions are reportedly underway regarding succession, legal risks, and political fallout. The palace is quietly asking the questions no one wants to confront. If Archie and Lilibet weren't born in line with royal tradition, what happens to their titles? What would it mean for their place in the line of succession? Could they be cut out entirely? No one knows for sure, and the palace isn't providing any answers. But the very fact that these discussions are happening reveals just how serious this crisis has become.
Meghan, can you tell us what it's like becoming a new mum and tell us a little bit about baby Sussex, as we're calling him?
It's magic. It's pretty amazing. And I mean, I have the two best guys in the world, so I'm really happy.
Tell us a little bit about your son. What's he like? Is he sleeping well, good baby?
Yes, he has the sweetest temperament. He's really calm.
What's clear now is this: the Sussex fairy tale is unraveling. The story of a brave prince and his modern duchess starting fresh is collapsing, crushed by secrecy and silence. And the more they dodge the truth, the heavier the consequences fall. Ultimately, it may come down to one choice: take the DNA test or don't.
This scandal comes as no surprise. Speculation about the children has been simmering for years.
One choice could silence critics and win back a shred of credibility. The other guarantees that suspicion never goes away because questions about bloodlines don't disappear. They linger, they fester, and in the end, they shape how history remembers you. Harry and Meghan gambled everything on a story of freedom and honesty, but now that narrative is being torn apart by silence, suspicion, and one question that refuses to die. Who are Archie and Lilibet really? The Sussex fairy tale is cracking under the weight of secrecy. Is Harry a victim trapped in Meghan's web, or a co-conspirator in a cover-up that could rewrite royal history? And most importantly, who are Archie and Lilibet really? These questions won't disappear. They could haunt the monarchy forever unless the truth finally comes out. What do you think? DNA test or silence? And if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to subscribe to US King Master for more powerful and eye-opening content. Thanks for watching.